Okay, I'm going to do a little drive around of Cathedral Caverns State Park here in northern Alabama. The park is about probably 30 miles south of Huntsville, Alabama. I'm waiting for this guy. So when you turn into the park, it's out in the country. I mean, it's way out in the country. It's a nice park. When you come into the park, to the right here, which is where I'll go first, is the campground, and straight ahead is the road that leads you to the Welcome Center, and that's where the cavern is, Cathedral Caverns. And I'm going to be going there next, and I'll be filming. So let me turn right and go into the campground. It's not a very big campground. I think they may have, I would say maybe 40 sites at the most. It's not probably not my favorite, but I'll tell you, it's really well maintained. Here's a couple of camp hosts on the left, very friendly. We got here yesterday, and they came out and met us and led us to the campsite. Even helped us back the trailer into place. So, real friendly folks, and they've been doing, groundskeeping work almost since we got here, it seems like. The sites are rather close. It's kind of laid out in a curious manner. One problem I have is that it seems like most of the sites have very little shade, including ours, and it is hot. It's the second week of August, of course. Now that's a pull-through site to the left. I don't know if you saw that or not. It's got some nice shade. But yeah, finding shade is a little tricky in this park. Here's our site on the right. I'm coming up on it now. I'll get some more shots of it for the video. See if I can get it in this film. Marina's sitting outside. See if I can swing over. There we are. See if I can get her to wave. Okay, there she is. And you can see we don't have much shade there except for our awning, of course. But it's nice. It's nice and peaceful. It's very clean. It's a state park campground, of course. So like I said, it's really well maintained. I will go back into this other area back here. I just want to do a drive-through of the campground just in case you ever find yourself in this neck of the woods. I would recommend it. It's a nice campground. Let me not get lost in here. Let me turn right again. The sites are gravel and fairly level. I may be going in another circle here. I don't know. I think I am. Man, I get lost in these. I am. I'm going back the same way I came. There you see Marina on the right in our little camper. She's probably wondering, what are you doing, man? Okay, let's see if I can find my way around here. Cathedral Caverns State Park. It's a rather new park. I think it was just designated, it was privately owned, and it was purchased from the state, I think around the turn of the century, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's not turn right. I know there's another section to the campground. I guess I have to go up here and turn right. There's a lady on the golf cart. She's one of the camp hosts. Really nice, very nice. Okay, let's turn right. And up here, down this road, is the Welcome Center. I went up there yesterday, and it's well stocked with all the amenities that you might need, all the basic necessities. If you come here and you find out that you're out of toilet paper, or you need a t-shirt or a hat or whatever, they've got it. Magnets. One neat thing, I'll get it on a picture or a video. One of the things they have at the Welcome Center is something you don't see everywhere. They have gem mining. You can go and purchase basically a bag of dirt and then go over to what is called, I believe, a sluice box, and you can pan for gems, I guess. So that's pretty neat. Now you have to, if you want to tour the caverns, you have to make a reservation, and it's a guided tour. And my tour is at noon. It's about 11:30 now. You go up here for the cave tour parking. I don't know how, I think the tour lasts for about an hour, but I don't know how well it's going to come out on film because, of course, it's a cave, it's dark. But the inside temperature of the caverns is 58 degrees, which is going to be kind of a relief here in the August heat. I thought there was more to the campground or another section. Maybe I just missed it, I don't know. Maybe it's up here. We shall see. Okay, this is a one-way. The cave tour parking, that sign says. And here we go. Okay. But yeah, it's a really well-maintained campground, really well-maintained state park. Very, as I said, very clean. This is where I'm going to be parking, and then I'll walk over to the Welcome Center and start the cave tour. Let me just drive around here real quick and I'll show you. They've got some pavilions up here if you want to come and have a picnic. And down here below is the Welcome Center and the camp store. I'm looking forward to the cool temperatures of the cave. Hey, how you doing? To my left, you can't see it, is the mining. It's called Tom's Mining. I'll get some pictures of it when I get out of the truck. There's the store and the Welcome Center. You prepay, at least I prepaid online for the cave tour. I like caves. There's a lot of caves up here in Alabama, northern Alabama. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay, this is just, I'm gonna make a loop here and go and park, and I will get back with you.
Exactly. You may not need it. We may have wasted our effort carrying. But here we are. Say goodbye.
Ooh, it's getting cooler.
Yeah.
I'm staying here till October.
It's already cool, didn't I tell you?
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Good. My name's Jacob. I'll be your tour guide today. Some do's and don'ts before we get started. Do please stay on the lidded path while we walk through the cave. Don't go outside the fence or anything like that. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want. If I don't have an answer for your question, I will find out for you when we exit the cave. Feel free to take as many pictures as you want. Just don't let your picture taking slow the progression of the group throughout the cave. Keep in mind you will get an opportunity to take more pictures on the way out. And lastly, please do not touch the formations with your hands. We have natural oils that will stunt the growth of the rock formations, so please do not touch the formations. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, this cave was discovered and purchased in 1952 by a man named Jacob Gurley. You'll hear me talk a lot about him throughout this cave. He purchased the cave and the surrounding 80 acres for about $4,000 from a farmer. And he made one big mistake. He didn't tell his wife that he was going to buy the cave. So she was pretty upset with him, but we'll talk more about that later on. If I can get everybody to turn around and look at the entrance of our cave. It's about 126 feet wide and about 25 feet tall, making it one of the largest, if not the largest, commercial cave opening in the world. Now this cave opening is completely naturally formed. It has not been touched by man whatsoever. If you see the rocks in front of the steps leading up, there was an excavation done there in the late 80s, and they discovered Native American artifacts. They found arrowheads, spearheads, jewelry, even a clay pot with war paint still inside of it. Now they believe the Cherokees would come to this I almost forgot. They found the artifacts belong to the Cherokee tribe. Now they believed that the Cherokees would come to this cave on hunting trips and would stay for a few days to a few weeks at a time, and then they would leave. They never found any remains inside of the cave, so they don't believe that it was a burial site for them, and they also believe that they never went any further than the first 2 rooms of the cave. Now quick question, can anybody tell me what type of rock the cave is made out of? That's right, it's made out of limestone. There's 2 different types of limestone that the cave is made out of, but I'll point those out to you further along inside. Now, does anybody have any questions for me before we continue? All right, well, if you guys follow me, we can go spelunking.
Ok, allora intanto di seguire il sentiero devi toccare le rocce, poi possono fare foto e fare domande se le avete o già arrangiate con la risposta. È stato scoperto da questo uomo che ha fatto un grande errore, ha lasciato un terreno e il grande errore è stato di vendere la moglie. Ho capito questa cosa. Allora, l'apertura è naturale, non è stata scavata, quindi ed è una delle più grandi
It's not actually frozen though. They call it frozen waterfall. So it's actually a rock formation caused by water. You'll see. Because it's not ice. There's no ice down there.
Spelunking. I'm spelunking.
Fallout shelter.
Okay, everybody. So during the Cold War, this cave was designated as a fallout shelter. Now they estimated the cave could hold up to about 10,000 people inside, but they didn't account for the massive 126-foot wide opening that would allow any radioactive water, waste, air, or material to seep into the cave, flowing freely all the way to the back, contaminating anything inside. Now this barrel was an original barrel left here during the Cold War. I believe it would have held crackers inside, and there's also instructions on the side of the barrel on how to use it after the crackers have been consumed. I'll give you a hint. It's the bathroom. for a time there was no correlation.
So we got the white settlers didn't know about it.
They're seasonal, so they migrate. Our bats, we have them in the winter, and then our bats, they left from the winter, they left the cave, and we won't have more bats until the fall.
I don't know who did it.
Oh my goodness. Wow. This is huge. This is huge.
I was wondering where the boy was coming from there.
Okay, everyone. Here at Cathedral Caverns, we strive for originality. What you're looking at here is called Big Rock Canyon. The easiest way I remember is by the big rocks in the canyon. Now, can anybody tell me where these rocks came from?
Home Depot.
The ceiling, that's right, they come from up here. So what this is called breakdown, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just when the cave ceiling up here breaks down onto the cave floor. Now luckily we haven't had any breakdown in this cave for about 50,000 years, but not to worry, if it was going to happen, it would not be on the days that I'm working. Now, if I can point your attention to this wall over here. If you see the gray-brown line that runs the length of the wall, this is called chert nodule, but you may better know it as flint. Now, when the Native Americans would come to this cave on their hunting trips, they would also come here to collect the flint for their arrowheads, spearheads, and other tools. But what it actually is fossilized sea sponge. So now we know what SpongeBob will look like in about 1 million years. The first formation I would like to point out to everybody is right here, and we call it corn on the cob because it looks like corn on the cob.
It does.
One of them does.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Sort of big.
Quali sono spugne marine? Forse.
È impossibile perché fanno anche le sponde. Invece questi sono venuti dal soffitto, però dopo non è
Nei
750
di pietra che sono caduti.
no, quelli che non fanno, se dovessero cadere non sarà nel giorno in cui lavoreremo.
Corn on the cob.
Sembrano pannocchie di mais.
Infatti vengono
Amazing.
Ah, ok.
how is it called? Corn?
All right, I'll get back to
This
you.
cave was purchased in 1952 by Mr. Gurley. Well, by 1955, he was giving tours of the cave for only 25 cents per person. These steps right here were part of Mr. Gurley's original tour path. He would lead people down these steps, down along these rocks, down into that tunnel, which leads into the next room. Well, one day, Mr. Gurley was down in that tunnel, working, when it began to rain outside. When you're this far into the cave, you can't hear what's going on outside, so he didn't know that it was raining. What ended up happening is the tunnel flooded, and Mr. Gurley was trapped inside of the cave for about 2 whole days. Now, once the water receded and Mr. Gurley came out, he was really upset. And he wasn't upset because he got trapped inside of the cave for 2 days. He was upset because he wasn't going to be able to charge people 25 cents for them to get trapped inside of the cave. So what Mr. Gurley did is he built his own tunnel, which we're going to go through here in just a moment. It took him 9 months to dig 200 feet using a pickaxe, a shovel, and a little bit of dynamite. It's also the only man-made passage in the entire cave. All of the other passageways that we'll walk through today are completely naturally formed. Now, if I can get you to look up here at the ceiling, can anybody tell me what that black dot is? That is a good guess, but it's not a bat. That is a shark's tooth. So this tooth would have belonged to a carnivorous shark, so it would have ate other fish, mammals, and other sea life like that. This dot right here is another shark's tooth. However, this one's different. This one would have belonged to a bottom feeder shark, so it would have ate crabs and lobsters and clams, things with a shell. Now the cool thing about both of these teeth is both of these teeth have been predate Megalodon, and they've both been dated at around 400 million years old. So they're quite old. Now this tooth in particular right here is probably about 6 to 7.
It's my leg that seems to be really. And it's kind of hard to negotiate with small lots of diameter.
Goodness.
I couldn't tell. The mirror is so clear.
Yes.
Aren't you guys? Now the tunnel that Mr. Gurley got stuck inside of would have led out behind these rocks somewhere over here. Which means this was the first, or one of the first formations that Mr. Gurley saw upon entering the cave. Now he was so impressed by its size that he decided to name it Goliath. Goliath stands at about 45 feet tall, it's about 260 feet around the base, and is over 40 feet in diameter. If you see the white stuff right here on the front of Goliath, this is called calcite. And all this means is that the formation is still growing and will continue to grow. Also, I'm sure you noticed a giant crack that runs through the left side of Goliath here. This is believed to have been caused by an 1812 earthquake known as the New Madrid Fault. It was a magnitude 10 earthquake, and it was so powerful, it caused the Tennessee River to flow backwards for 3 days, and it also caused the church bells in Boston to ring. Now, if I could point your attention up here, if you see the formation that grows from the ground up, this is called a stalagmite. We remember that by saying it might trip you. The one that grows from the ceiling down is called a stalactite. We remember that by saying it holds on tight to the ceiling. When the two formations grow together and connect, they form what is known as a column, which is seen right there, and it's also seen in Goliath. Goliath is a column. In fact, Goliath might be the world's biggest column in any commercial cave. Now, I've heard some people call them pillars before, but I will continue to call it a column because in Alabama, a pillar is what you sleep on at night. Are there any questions so far?
This is huge.
Mr. Gurley's original tour path. Now the path that you see is only about 1.5 feet wide, and the fence is only about 2 feet tall. So you literally have to crab walk from one side to the other, risking a 30-foot drop into Mystery River. Now the reason Mr. Gurley named it Mystery River is because he did not know where the water was coming from, and he didn't know where it was going. Scientists have since figured out that the water comes from a stream further up inside of the mountain. It runs the entire length of the cave, exits the cave, and connects to the Tennessee River. Now, if you notice this bridge lower down beneath us, this was constructed out of railroad ties by Mr. Gurley to get his Jeep with supplies deeper into the cave to continue working. Some people claim that he drove across this bridge going anywhere as fast as 35 to 45 miles per hour. Lastly, if you see where the light stone meets the dark stone, that's actually the flood line for this room. Now on Christmas Day, 2015, we got 13 inches of rain in such a short period of time that the water level in this room rose so high that it was actually 6 inches higher than the bridge that we're standing on right now. Some brave tour guides decided to kayak all the way from Goliath to the hill that we're about to walk up in just a moment. I was not one of them, but I sure hope to be this year.
You think it would soak away some fossils or something, maybe? Yeah, you get plant and animal and they work and then wait for a couple of years.
Okay, everyone, you're now looking at our frozen waterfall. It gets that name because it looks like a frozen waterfall. However, I think it looks more like the south end of some northbound elephants. So if you can imagine, or what this is what's known as a flowstone wall. So if you can imagine, millions of years ago, these were once massive boulders, but over time and from erosion, they've been slowly eroded down into the smooth surface that you see here today. Now the rock is only about 5 inches thick, which means it's very fragile. If you notice the crack that runs through the majority of the formation, this is believed to have been caused by that 1812 earthquake. Well, when Mr. Gurley saw this crack, he was very afraid that the formation would break and lose its natural beauty. So what he decided to do is fill the crack in with concrete. Well, after filling some of the crack in with concrete, Mr. Gurley realized that that also takes away from the natural beauty of the formation. And so he gave up trying to fix it completely. He did leave us his handprint in the rocks right here forever. I guess you could say that it's set in stone. All right, if you follow me, we can continue. Now we actually offer weddings in this cave, so this would be the room that the ceremony would take place in. As you can see, all the decorations are included, and the bride and the groom would get a free golf cart ride out of the cave after the ceremony. Now before you say, I bet it costs an arm and a leg, it's only $1,000. Let me stress to you, for a wedding, that is rock bottom prices.
Anybody want to get married? My wife don't like me to get married.
Now if anyone remembers the 400 million year old shark teeth that I showed earlier in the cave, we've got another one right here. That black dot is another over 400 million year old shark tooth. Pretty cool. If you want to touch it, you can. Not too often you get to touch a 400 million year old shark tooth. You want to touch it? There you go.
Want me to lift you, Patrick? Yeah. Okay.
Not too often.
Somebody else hold your water. Victoria, would you hold his water?
Yeah, it feels almost a little smoother than the actual rock. Yeah, you might as well touch it too. It's pretty neat. Oh, sorry.
Let's let the other people in if they want to do it. We can wander around and look at the rocks.
Came to this cave to film part of their movie Tom and Huck. Now, that movie is kind of like Tom Sawyer meets Huckleberry Finn. Well, in the movie, the two main characters, Tom and Huck, are seen running through this little under alcove area. They run from this side to that side and then back out into the stalagmite forest. That movie's available on Disney Plus. If you watch it, you might recognize somewhere you've been before. Now, if you look up here, you might see the rocky icicles, as I like to call them, hanging down. Well, what this is called drapery. When drapery grows or is formed very thin and you backlight it, it looks a lot like a certain breakfast item. Can anybody tell me what that looks like? Bacon. I get pancakes a lot too. but bacon is the correct term. So the term bacon has been used so frequently for this formation that the actual geological terminology for this formation is cave bacon. And that is Cathedral Caverns' very own cave bacon right here, everybody. Get hungry. It's not the only one in the cave, it's the only one that we present in the cave. Alright, this next tunnel is very low hanging, so if you're taller than me, which is a few of you, please watch your head when going through it. I don't want you to get injured. It will hurt really bad if you don't, so please be careful.
Okay, I've left the group behind. This is coming out of the cave. That was really, really impressive. I don't know, I hope the video and my photos come out, but it was so dark in there. But that is well worth the price of admission. It's 20 bucks to do the cave tour. Man, if you're ever in this neck of the woods, I'm telling you, this was worth it. This was worth it.